In this video, I'm going to talk about priorities in photography. I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York. I make videos like this. This is going to be, I guess, kind of a philosophy video slash business related. I also make them about gear and technique. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. This video is going to summarize a lot of things I sometimes say, maybe in more abstracted ways. It'll probably be relatively short, and hopefully we'll get a discussion going. So let me know as we're going through this what you guys think about each one of these areas, and then maybe we'll go into them more deeply in future videos. So I even have notes this time. So what I mean by this is, a lot of times I see people that are trying to build a photography business and or career or whatever you want to say. I mean, people that want to get their photography out there, and they focus on certain things, or even just they're doing it as a hobby, and that maybe in the end, like with being able to look back, having been in the position that you're in, if you're relatively new, I can tell you that a lot of times we go the wrong way. So the first one I wanted to talk about is gear-wise. I think that people focus way too much on camera bodies. This is basically understandable because it's the thing that is like the sexiest in a sense. Like they're the things that always seem to add new features. They're the thing that adds this thing that the camera manufacturers push them out there. The mystique of, oh, now you can shoot a gazillion and a half frames per second and do this, shoot upside down when you're flying through the space, and and it includes a coffee maker. But the reality is that if you're trying to be a photographer and you want to capture the world around you, you want to create images, you want to create emotion with images, you want to bring feeling into the frame, create depth in a two-dimensional space that is photography. You need lights. Like, lighting is more important than your camera. It's more important than your lens. And so if we're going to do levels here, it would be lighting, then lenses, then camera body, in my opinion. And also, those are probably the thing. That's probably the order the opposite order that most people put them in when they're first starting. And also, probably the way that you replace them, right? You replace your camera body way more often than you replace your lenses, and you replace your lenses probably more often than you replace your lighting. I mean, I have lighting I've gone through 4 or 5 camera systems in the time. I don't always use it all. I buy new lighting all the time and add to my kit, but because I generally buy better lighting, my lighting actually lasts. And like, I have an acute system it's got to be 15 years old at least. So I got my list here to make sure I'm saying everything I want to say. This, I think, is the main thing with gear. I think, I mean, obviously I'm being very general here. There's other things that we need too, like color checkers and computers and things like that. But when it comes down to it, photography is capturing light. So having some means to control that light is going to increase the ability of you to create the images that you have in your head. You can walk around and shoot, and we talked about this with natural light photographers before, and create beautiful images with just natural light, of course, right? But you don't have the control. And control breeds consistency, and consistency is what professional photographers offer, right? When you look at somebody's portfolio, and you say, oh, well, they've got these 10 great pictures in their portfolio. You don't know if it took them 10 years to get that, 1 million shots. You don't know that, right? But you assume that somebody as a professional can always do what's there. And if somebody is always reliant on the natural light, unless they have control over it, they aren't going to be able to repeat it all the time, which means that a client's going to come in and say, I want this, and you won't be able to do it. At least not exactly the same. Having lighting, controlling lighting, knowing how it works is super important. And knowing how to work with natural light is super important. But as far as gears wise, clearly you probably already have a camera and the lens, but if you have some money to spend and you're looking at the latest, greatest upgrade to your camera, think about whether or not you think you actually really need those features. And if you don't, because maybe sometimes you maybe might, really consider investing in lighting instead if you haven't already, because lighting is going to change your photography more than anything else that you can do. All right, second priority. Maybe this will be longer than I thought. Well, cameras overlaying, I read that. Okay. So I'm going to go here and then we'll get into more business as we go. Trends over style is the way people tend to go. And that is exactly, I think, a negative to your growth. If you're constantly chasing trends versus trying to develop your own style, you will find yourself never having a consistent client base, never having a consistent way of producing. Because again, people want the thing that you do. That's what makes you worthwhile compared to the other 50,000 photographers out there that are doing the same thing, right? If somebody goes to you and it's like, why would I pay you when this person over here does the exact same thing? They take that, prism and put it in front of their lens just the same way you do. They use the smoke bombs the same way you do. They do, whatever is the latest trends, just the way you do. Ideally, as photographers, we want to create a style that stands out. So when somebody hires you, they're hiring you for what you do. And what you do isn't just a very specific technique. Trends tend to be techniques. What you want to do is create a style, which is kind of like a way of speaking, a language that your photography uses that puts your stamp on it. That's so much more important than trends. I'm not saying don't shoot trendy stuff. You should do that. Actually, if your client base is, especially if they're young, and you're shooting, photos of them, you want to be shooting trendy stuff and stuff that's newer. At the same time, though, you always want to tag that with a bit of your style. Style is more important than the trend. Okay, these next two are kind of related. Seeking out likes versus seeking out people that will pay for your work, or clients, depending on how you want to say it. Some people are so focused on just building up lots and lots of likes on their images and then wonder why they never make any money. It's because you're showing it. A like doesn't cost anybody anything to do, I mean, I like tons of stuff online that just because my friend puts a post, I like it, just to give them a boost and to let them know that I saw it. There's lots of reasons why people hit like on a picture. When people actually break out their checkbook, I don't know if people use checkbooks anymore. When people actually break out their Venmo, Cash App, whatever they use, they are making a statement that your art, your stuff that you create, what you're doing is important to them and is worthwhile. You need to get your work in front of the people that pay for it. You need to, if you want to shoot portraits of people and make money doing it, then you need to look for people that need portraits enough that they'll pay for it. An actor needs a headshot to put themselves out there. A corporate person needs a portrait for LinkedIn. These are the people that need portraits. People need portraits for school portraits, stuff like that. In fact, there's probably I just realized this now, with everything that's going on, and in the US anyways, there's still a lot of people doing homeschooling. I'm curious how that will change like the school portrait market, because I know that a lot of people just go to like the studio and sit in front of the plain background and get their picture because they don't really care. But now if they want to get a picture, probably they're going to have to do things outside. Maybe photographers are going to travel around. So I'm curious what will happen. I'm going to watch that actually, because it's weird because school year just started, but I'm pretty sure that if I remember right, I don't do this kind of photography, so that people start shooting their like school portraits, like they shoot them in the fall, like in the next months or so, because they have to get them all. At least they used to do it that way. I don't know if now with digital they do them in the spring. I don't know. We used to do them in the fall. Anyways, that was a complete side thing over there. But that guy with the kayak is driven by 3 times. I wonder if he's lost. It's like the water's right there, dude. Anyways, sorry. You can't see the water because you're a camera, and you're just looking at me. Right. Don't look for people that are going to like your work. Look for people that are going to pay for it if you want to do this commercially. Does that mean that you shouldn't have people that just like your work? No, of course not. You want to have that because, on some level, that's also justification, right? If you go to somebody and you're like, well, I have, this picture has 800 likes, so maybe people like it, so I should do more of that style. So it doesn't help. It's a way of like surveying what might be good for you. The only problem with it is that, again, you're showing it to people that aren't paying for it, so they think it's good, but do the people that pay for it think it's good? And tying right into that and kind of wrapping up this little, maybe I'll do more of these because I feel like there's a lot of more I could do, but I don't want to spend too much time on each of these because I want you guys to comment and let me know what you think, and we can kind of make them into more thorough conversations. The other one that's kind of related here is followers versus clients is what I wrote down. So again, same thing, right? Whereas the likes are The like is a momentary thing, and somebody paying you is a one-time thing. A client is a long-term thing, right? Ultimately, what you want in photography is the person to come back, right? So my first photography job was working for this photographer. Jim Calories was his name. I never thought that before. I mentioned this before. He was a wedding photographer, but he also was like the photographer of the small town that he was in. You know, kind of the high end, if you will, photographer. So he shot school pictures and stuff. And I just remember, I mean, he was an older gentleman, and I remember going to all these different weddings, and all the people that were there that had been photographed by him. You know, like we would be doing a wedding, and of people that like he did their wedding, like the daughter of somebody whose wedding he shot when he was first starting his business, and he had done that girl's pictures all through school, you know. So it became this whole thing, like, and then like later when they had a child, he would do that child's photos. So it becomes this thing, right? You have clients, even in like retail photography, which is what I'm talking about here. You know, long-term clients. You know, if you shoot with a for a catalog, right? You hope, anyways, that they hire you back every season, so you have a long-term client. You have that money. I mean, it's never guaranteed, of course, but you become like a regular, right? This is what we want. We want regular income, not just quick boom, boom, boom. You know, the quick stuff you get right away. They're like the likes, right? It's easy to do, cheap, quick. You know, somebody comes in for a quick headshot. Maybe they come back, maybe they don't. But clients are long-term. So instead of looking for somebody just to follow your trend, to follow you like on Facebook or whatever, and see all of your pictures, you want people to come back whenever they need a picture, and also to recommend you, right? So you want these, you know, instead of likes and followers, you want clients and customers, or customers and clients, I guess is the way I say it. So that ultimately you have, that's how your business grows, right? Again, following you costs nothing, right? I don't get a penny for all you guys that are following me here. But if you don't follow the channel, please do so. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I think people who are prioritizing these things wrong. So let me just restate that. I'm not saying that one thing is bad or the other. You have to have all of these things. But the priority should be getting great lighting, you know, getting your work in front of people that will pay for it, not just in front of the general public, getting, you know, those people that do pay for it to become regular clients. Like, this is really ultimately what we want, right? As photographers, that is the deal, right? And ultimately creating a style that people pay for. You know, people will be like, I love shooting with Daniel. I shoot my headshot with him every time because his style always captures whatever, you know, the best in me, or, you know, whatever they're going to say. That's very generic and probably not, that would be a terrible comment. Well, maybe, I don't know. If somebody wants to write that out for me to go, no, but, you know, you want the person to hire you, again, because what you don't want is to be in the position where somebody will come to you and just be like, well, anybody can do what you do. I found somebody cheaper. You know, so that's where the style part comes in. So all that together, right, and you see where I'm pretty pricey where I'm going here, part of your style is probably going to be your lighting. And that's why the lighting is the most important thing you should work on. If you do not own any kind of lighting, even if you're on a super small budget, go out and get something to control light. Go get one of those work lamps from a hardware store. Start to learn how to control and create your own light, because that will ultimately help you build a style, which will help you get the customers and then ultimately the clients. So that's basically our path to follow here. If you guys have any comments, I'm sure you will, please put them below. If you don't subscribe to the channel already, please do, and ring the bell so you get all notifications. That way I can have more followers. And I'll see you next time.